Good morning. Welcome to Songbirds Creations, Crochet and More. My name is Margaret, and I'd like to welcome you into the Songbird's Nest. I am here with my first cup of coffee this morning, so I will be sipping on some of that here soon. In fact, I'm going to sip on some of that right now and let some folks get in here. Good morning, Julianne. How are you doing today? Good morning, Marianne. Good to see you. So not awake? I am actually pretty awake this morning. I woke up quite a while ago, but I had to make a fresh pot of coffee, and so I'm just getting my first cup. Yeah, I totally understand that, Julian. I needed mine too. Yeah, I was wondering if you were getting any of those storms, Marianne. I was watching the storm chasers last night for quite a while, and they were over in your part of the country. In fact, there was a tornado in Arkadelphia, and then there was one later in Mississippi. I forget, over around Redwood, I think. But yeah. Good morning, Lisa. Welcome in. Nice to see you. We had all night last night, but we didn't have storms. It did storm earlier in the evening, around, I guess, 7, 8 o'clock. It was storming. But later on in the evening, it just calmed down and just pretty much a steady rain all night. And it's looking like it might rain on my birthday, but it's kind of far out to tell at this point, I guess. Things can change. Oh, excuse me. You need to not do that. Yeah, that would definitely do it. I brought Icy in. He wasn't happy about it, but he went out and slept in the mud room next to the door. I guess he felt like that was as close as he was going to get to outside, so that's where he slept last night. And then when the hubby got up this morning, the porch was dry enough that he went ahead and put him outside. And now he's happy. What are my plans for the day today? I don't really have any at the moment. Right now, sitting here chatting with you guys and try and work some more on this sock. Other than that, I don't have any big plans. I would love to drive up to Lake Michigan. Lake Michigan, well, in fact, all the Great Lakes except Superior. Well, South Shore of Superior, but not out into the lake any further. But all the Great Lakes have gale watches or warnings. Lake Michigan has a gale warning, and they're talking about waves up to 16 feet. Now, of course, needless to say, by the time they get to shore, they're not 16 feet, but they still are pretty impressive. So it would be fun to go up there and watch the waves. Good morning, Lana. Yes, my mom used to live down in Florida, and she lived on the Atlantic coast side. And she always said that the waves on Lake Michigan were way better than the waves on the Atlantic Ocean. Now, I will have to say, there were a couple of times when I was living in Chicago that the waves were big enough coming in that they would come up, and there's like kind of a wall dividing the walkway and the lake, and then the road is over on, in between by the walkway. The waves would come up and over that wall and across that walkway and out across the road. It would get absolutely wild up there sometimes. It was pretty amazing. A lot of fun to watch. But yeah, having those kind of waves, you can definitely see why we have shipwrecks on the Great Lakes. In fact, lots of shipwrecks on the Great Lakes. I forget what the number is on Lake Michigan, but it's pretty high. Um, and everybody knows with salt water, you actually have more buoyancy because of the salt that's in that water. It holds you up more. When you're in lake water, it's fresh water, and you don't have that buoyancy. So stuff that's in lake water tends to sink. And yeah, so if you get a ship or any kind of boat in trouble out there, you're going down. So, yeah. Yeah, in fact, they've found more shipwrecks lately. I guess the lake levels have been lower the last couple of years, so they've actually managed to find some more shipwrecks out there, which is pretty cool. Um, I doubt it's anything that I'll ever go see, but I suppose if I could get a boat out to see them, that would be kind of neat. And that's another thing with our lakes. I know, especially in Lake Michigan, we have a invasive mussel called zebra mussels, and they're very small. I mean, they're only, yay big around. But when they colonize an area, they just grow and grow and grow and grow and grow, lots of them. And they will pretty much wipe out an environment because they're filter feeders, so they filter everything out of the water, and which means food that native species eat is depleted. Also, they deplete the oxygen in the lake water. So our lakes actually are getting much clearer than what they used to be. Amber had said that she doesn't like swimming in lakes because you can't see your feet. In Lake Michigan, you can go out probably chest high and look down and be able to see your feet. So, yeah, it's pretty crazy. And of course, we have another invasive species that they're trying to keep out of Lake Michigan, but I have a sneaking suspicion they're losing that battle. And it's a type of carp, Asian carp. And they are the wildest fish. If you go over, there's a river in Illinois that lets out into Lake Michigan, and that river is just full of these Asian carp. And if you go out there with the boat, the fish get freaked out by the motors of the boat, and they start jumping out of the water. And I mean, they'll literally jump out of the water and into your boat. And these are not little fish. These are carp get big. So these are like, 3 foot fish jumping out of the water into your boat. They will also jump out of the water into you. I've heard of people getting broken jaws and things like that because of one of these fish jumping out and hitting them. So yeah, it is interesting. And they have actually electrified part of the river up there to try and stop these carp from being able to go any further. So you can boat down that part of the river, but it's highly suggested that you don't touch the water if you want to stay alive anyway. Yeah. Good morning, Nick. Nice to see you here. Happy you're here. And I did make it home yesterday. The rally was beautiful, very peaceful, a lot of people. I was very, very surprised and happy to see as many people as turned out. It was a big rally. So yeah, it was great. Very safe. I never felt unsafe one bit. So yeah, it was a nice rally. I did leave a little early because, with my knees and walking a bit slow, I didn't want to have to try and fight off the crowd to get back to where I was parked. So I did leave a little bit early and go back to my car. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. So, and wow, I've been watching the other rallies that went on around the country on different news stations, and it was amazing. They're saying estimates are 7 million people turned out for a rally somewhere across the United States. So that is awesome. So this morning, yesterday after the live, I went ahead and worked the rest of the rows up to the top of where I want my sock. I ended up doing 10 rows rather than 12. I figured 10 was enough, but I am not doing ribbing on this because these are going to mainly be slipper socks for around the house. So I am just going to work a little scallop border around the top, just a single crochet scallop border. So what I'm doing is every other stitch I'm working 3 single crochet into. And then the next stitch, just a slip stitch. And I'm just going to work that. Let me move my camera down a little so you can see what I'm doing. All right, camera, focus. Thank you. Yeah, I'm just going to work 3 single crochets and then a slip stitch all the way around the top of the sock. And that'll just kind of give it a kind of cute decorative border. Marianne, you really ought to try this pattern. It is really so easy. If I sit down and just work on a pair of socks, I could have a pair of these done in probably 3 to 4 hours. I saw that ghost plushie, Nick. Those are so cute. So today it is finally feeling like fall here. we only have a high of 57 for the day. So it is not going to be long, and I'm going to have to turn on my heat. I'm going to have to give in and turn on the heat. Okay, that's cool, Nick. We did get some rain as well. Actually, it did rain just a little bit while I was at the rally. Not enough to really matter, but yeah, it did rain just a little. That was around, I guess, 1 o'clock. And then later on yesterday evening, it started raining. Pretty much went all night. We started out with a little thunderstorm that actually had some pretty nice lightning in it. So that was kind of fun. The pink whip, that is actually, it's kind of a pinkish red, but this is the Big Twist Totally Tweed yarn that I got when Frizzy had her dibs sale. I bought several of these, and I'm going to do a moss stitch blanket with it. And what I'm going to do is work this full skein of the tweed and then do some white and then go back to the tweed. So it'll be stripes of tweed and white. And I'll get it finished one of these days. Right now, as far as blankets go, I have been working on my trio blanket, and I am just about ready to tie in my third skein. So it's getting nice sized. I think I am going to go ahead and use all 6 of each color that I bought and make it a really big blanket so that I can use it on my bed like a bedspread and be able to fold it up over the pillow. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to getting it done. So no, the trio blanket is not for a challenge. The trio blanket, it's one of my favorite blanket patterns. I've done one that I completed back years ago, and it's really fun if you work it up with a self-striping yarn so that as you're working through the blanket, your colors are constantly changing. And if you work with 3 different cakes of self-striping yarn and maybe have some of the same colors in the yarn, but not all the yarn be the same, it's just really cool the effects that you get from working the self-striping back and forth. And it's a really neat pattern because you don't have to cut off your yarn every row. So there's a lot less ends to weave in when you're done. Okay, I'll be watching for that, Nick. Okay, so here I am back to the beginning, and so as you can see, it's just a cute little scallopy edge at the top, and that is all I'm going to do there. Now, what I normally do when I finish, instead of just weaving my ends in, I like to stitch into the back side and go down a couple, 3 stitches down. Then I chain 2 and I go ahead and have any scissors right here. Got all my scissors over at other places. But then I go ahead, chain 2, and finish off. And I will sew that in later. So now we are to this big hole that we have that we need to work a heel in. So working the heel is pretty easy. And let me just check and make sure I have the right number of stitches. Okay, 5th stitch. So what you want to do is where you have your heel opening, you'll want to count over to the 5th stitch of your heel opening. So that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you want to pull up your stitch into that. Then you go ahead and work 40 slip stitches around. I may have that first loop a little too small. Anyway, you work 40 slip stitches around the opening of the heel. It's so hard to keep you guys. I have to take out my glasses so I can see what I'm doing. Isn't that crazy? My glasses are for distance, and they're great for distance, but for working up close, they suck. So it's really hard for me to sit and watch TV and crochet because wearing my glasses to watch TV and then trying to crochet just doesn't work real well. This yarn does like to split. I am left-handed, Nick. I am very much a left-handed crocheter, so the camera is not flipped. I am a lefty. Well, you know, and there's nothing wrong with that, Nick. Um, it kind of all depends on how you were taught. I play guitar left or right-handed, and the reason for that is because I was around a lot of other guitarists that all played guitar right-handed. Plus, our guitar was strung to be played right-handed. So when I learned to play guitar, which I basically taught myself, um, I learned to play right-handed. Um, I don't know if I'd have been any better of a guitarist if I restrung the guitar the other direction and played left-handed. Who knows? At this point, it's kind of late for that. Um, Julianne, I had progressive lenses on the two pairs of glasses I had before I bought these. I hated them. I absolutely hated them. They did not work well for me at all. So I was still ending up taking my glasses off to do up close work. So I decided on this time when I got glasses, I just went ahead and went with the single vision and had my distance corrected because that's really what I need. Okay, so when I'm working this, when I get up to where this corner is, I do not work a stitch into that corner. I just go straight across and start working into the stitches on the other side of the heel opening. So basically, just start working right there. Exactly, Lisa. That's what I would do. I would take them off for doing anything up close or um, crocheting, reading, anything like that. Um, Reading stuff on my phone or texting. I pretty much had to take them off. So yeah, I felt like they were pretty useless to me if I was having to take them off for everything other than driving. I think I'm doing that. Yes, well, you're young, Nick. You're lucky. That could change someday. You never know. I've actually worn glasses ever since I was a young kid. When I was around 11, I started getting, well, I've always been really light sensitive. So when I would read a book, I couldn't read sitting directly under a light because the glare off the page would bother me. And then when I was around 11 or 12, I started getting really bad headaches. And my mom took me in and had my eyes tested, and it turned out I needed glasses. So, yeah, so I've worn glasses pretty much ever since then. Oh, come on, yarn, quit splitting on me. I am crocheting socks. So right now I'm working on the heel of the sock. And welcome in, Payong. I hope I said your name right. Okay, and I'm back up to that corner, so instead of crocheting a stitch into that corner, I'm going to just jump back down here to the bottom and work these last 5 stitches that you skip, or last 4 stitches that you skip at the beginning. Now, once again, we are going to work this in a spiral, so we will not put a we won't join like we would normally. We will start using a stitch marker in there to let us know that we're back to the beginning of our row. And I'm just going to do a quick count around to make sure. Good morning, Scrimshaw. It's nice to see you in today. Okay, so I did do my 40 around, so I have the right count, which is good. So on this row around, we are basically going to single crochet in our first 19 stitches, and that's if I can get this needle in. And I'm just putting my marker in to let me know when I get back around to that first stitch. Oh, splitty yarn. I don't know if that light is helping or hurting. I don't know. It's so dark here today. It's hard to get good light. Yes, I hate splitty yarns too, and I didn't remember this one being so splitty. Maybe it's just this hook. Yeah, Scrimshaw. Um, there were a lot of storms around last night. Quite a bit of the country was getting them. Oh wow. Were you are you around the North Carolina area where they had the nor'easter? Hey, Magic Frog, good morning. Good to see you. Yes, I know quite a bit of the Midwest and um, South was getting storms last night. So, and me being the storm chaser junkie that I am, I didn't have my computer on, but I had my phone and my tablet, each with a different storm chaser. It was a huge one in North Carolina. As a matter of fact, that nor'easter was crazy. The Outer Banks really got pounded. I think they lost like 6 more houses off the coast. So I don't know why people build out there. I mean, I know it's beautiful. The ocean is awesome. And, um, you know, it's a beautiful place to have a house, but Mother Nature isn't always nice, and when that weather comes in the right direction, it will tear stuff up. And I don't know why people insist on building more houses right back in the same place that a house just was and got torn up by the ocean. I mean, why do we need houses in the ocean? I can understand loving the ocean. I love the ocean, but I don't love it enough that I'd build my house right on a sandy beach. I mean, once those waves get up there and start washing all the base that you've got your house built into, they start washing that away, you're SOL. Your house is going to go. And then when the wind gets really crazy and starts ripping pieces off your house, you know, I mean, my dad lives on Myrtle Beach, and he basically their condo building is on the beach, but it's far enough back that one, it's probably not going to get washed out, and number two, he's like up in the top of the building, so you know it's not real scary up there. But yeah, there's no way you'd get me to put a house on a beach. In fact, even on Lake Michigan, they have been losing houses into the lake because um, Well, first of all, the lake was high for several years, and the winter gales were causing horrible erosion on the beaches. And now some of our beaches on Lake Michigan have literal cliffs. Like you've seen out in California, the houses falling off the cliffs. Well, that's happening on Lake Michigan too. Um, so people, I know of one case that they had built their house. Originally, it was, oh, I forget how many 100 feet, but it was a good ways back from the edge of the cliff when they built their house. And over the years, the erosion from the winter gales has eroded that cliff away to where their house was hanging over the edge of the cliff. They ended up going ahead and demolishing the house because they knew all it would take is one more good storm and their house was going to be in the ocean again. So, yeah, it's crazy. Or not in the ocean, but in the lake. So yeah, there's definitely a lot of people losing houses up there too. And it's sad. I a lot of times when we go up to the lake, we'll drive around in some of those nice neighborhoods up there. And I mean, they are nice neighborhoods. They got money, you know. They're building these gorgeous homes. And take care, Marianne. It's good to see you in here. Enjoy your sleep. Hope you sleep well. Maybe now that the storms are over, it'll be calm enough for you to get some good sleep. um, but I see for sale signs all over the place up there. And I just kind of have to laugh because I think to myself, who's going to buy this? Anybody that knows what's happening on the Lake Michigan coastline right now is not going to buy a house in that area. And it's because it is the east coast of Lake Michigan, so the storms in the wintertime come down from usually up north Canada, come down and sweep right across the lake and right over to the east coast of Lake Michigan. And that causes just absolutely monster waves, which is what's happening today. It's supposed to be great big waves out there. So, yeah. Okay, so I've done my first 19 single crochet around the opening. So now what we're going to do is a series of decreases. So we're going to first going to do, find my, I'm going to single crochet 2 together. And we're going to single crochet 3 together. And then we're going to single crochet 2 together. Through. And then we are going to work 7 single crochet. You know, Scrimshaw, I really can't call this a tutorial. I'm just kind of showing you what I've learned from doing Brianna Kay's pattern. She does have a very good tutorial. I will link it in the description of this live stream after the live is over. Lana, unless you could possibly go ahead and put the link in to the chat for anybody that wants it. It's Brianna Kay. I'll show you what the name of the come on, computer. My computer yesterday was supposed to be doing an update. And it did the update, but then it went in and said it was cleaning. And it went to 100% on that, but then it just sat there. And it was supposed to shut down. Hi, Arity. Good morning. Good to see you. So there is the name of the tutorial and who did it for you, Lana. If you want to find that link and drop it for us, I would really appreciate it. Yes, I definitely am subscribed to her because I absolutely love some of the stuff that she makes. She has some beautiful stuff. Um, she's the one that does all the stuff with the wheat stitch, and she does some gorgeous things. So we've done our 7 singles, and now we are going to go back to doing some decreases. So our first decrease will be 2 together. Our next decrease will be 3 together. I'm trying to crochet with my glasses on again. I don't know why I do that. 3 together, and our last decrease will be 2 together. And then we are done with this row. And that should bring us down to 32 stitches, 32 single crochets around this heel opening. So for this next row, we are just going to go ahead and single crochet 32 stitches around. And somewhere I messed up and did an extra stitch. So I'm just going to fudge it and skip a stitch. So we are back around to our beginning. We have 32 stitches on the opening. So on this next row, any of you guys do that when you have to change your stitch marker? You do that too? Well, I'm glad to know I'm not the only one. When I was learning to sew, I used to always hold my straight pins in my mouth when I was pinning out a pattern. I would take several straight pins off the my pin cushion or the box of pins, whatever. And I would stick, 4 or 5 pins and hold them with my lips. My sewing teacher yelled at me. She said, "What if somebody came up and hit you on the back and you all of a sudden gasped? Where would all those pins be?" I thought about it and I was like, yeah, that's probably true. But you know what? It didn't break me of the habit. So this is row 4 of the opening, and we are going to work 14 single crochet to start with. Okay, that's our first 14. Once we work those, we single crochet 2 together. And you amigurumi folks who know how to do the invisible decrease real well, she kind of does recommend that. I don't do it. But the next one, we single crochet 3 together. And then the last of the decreases for this side, we single crochet 2 together. Then we single crochet. Yes, I know, but you do amis all the time. So, you're real practiced at it. I'm not. Okay, so the after the last of the 2 togethers, we single crochet 4 stitches, and then we are going to single crochet 2 together, then 3 together, and then 2 together. And that brings us down to 24 stitches on the round. Good morning, Rachel. Nice to see you. Glad to have you here today. And we are back to our next row. So we are going to just work around our 24 stitches. I can get my stitch marker in. I've got to cut my nails. They're just getting too long and I don't work well with them. Okay. So just continue to do single crochets around this opening 24 stitches. Hey Lori, good to see you. Oh no, they woke you up real early. I'm sorry. Okay. On this next row, we are going to single crochet 2 together in our first stitch. Nails. And then on our second stitch, we'll just work a regular single crochet. Then we're going to work 2 together, and then just a single crochet in the next. Hey Helix! And 2 together, and a single crochet in the next, and we just keep doing that on around the opening. Yesterday was awesome, Helix. I did post some pictures. Tarot Destroyer, where are you talking about? And, okay. Two together and a single. Are you anywhere near the lake, Arity? And you end your row a single crochet. And that brings us down to 16 single crochets around the opening. So for this next row, we do the same as we've been doing. We just work our 16 single crochets around the row. Okay, so we've got our 16 around, and for this last row, we are going to single crochet 2 together in every stitch around, which will bring us down to 8 stitches. And this will be our last row of the heel. Okay, and there we go with our 8 decreases. Back around to our first stitch. I'm just going to slip stitch into that, chain 2, and cut my yarn. Now, to close this little bitty circle that you've still got left here, we're just going to go around the row and work our tail thread through the front loop of our single crochets. Oh, you're 9 miles from downtown? Okay. I just was wondering what the waves were looking like over there. We're supposed to get, we're supposed to have gale Lake Michigan over on the east coast of Lake Michigan today. And they're saying the waves could get up to 16 feet. Okay, so we've gone around all the stitches of that opening. And I'm just going to yank this onto the inside of the sock. And of course, the yarn split, so all right, and then you just pull it tight and pull it closed. And of course, you'll want to stitch your end in and secure it real well so that you don't have that heel opening up back up on you. And there you go. There is a sock with an actual shaped heel instead of just, you know, the general tube socks that we crochet a lot of the time. This has got an actual heel to it. So there it is, all done. So I will go ahead later on today and finish up my second one, and I will have another pair of slipper socks. I have been wearing my gray pair, like crazy, and they really need to be washed. Unfortunately, with them being wool and alpaca, I'm going to have to hand wash them, so Yeah, they're gonna be a while laying flat to dry. Oh, so yes, Arity, it is an awesome tutorial. I really love it. I've just about at this point, just about got it memorized. I don't have every single stitch count memorized for every row, but I'm getting there. If I make a couple more pairs of it, it'll be stuck up here. So I'll just be able to whip up a pair of socks anytime I want. This yarn scrimshaw is, I'm pretty sure, I think says it's a 3-weight, but it's very, if it is a 3-weight, it's a very light 3-weight. It might even be a 2. Arity, I do like that you measure as you go as well, because you make a custom pair of socks. Also, when you're doing the length of your sock, don't be afraid to do it with less rows than what she says, because I will tell you, these do stretch out. As your stitches relax and everything, and walking around the house in them and stuff, these stitches are going to relax and this is going to stretch out. So this sock may actually be pretty tight on my foot, but that's kind of what I wanted because I know that it's going to stretch. Yes, she said that they stretch, and she is not lying to you. They stretch. My gray pair is well stretched out at this point, which I don't mind, but they are definitely stretched. Just another little thing. It will make your socks to where you do have to hand wash them, but if you're intending to use these as house slippers and you're afraid of slipping and sliding on a slick floor, I have laminate floors all through my house. So what you can do is take your hot glue gun and just run some hot glue. You can either do dots or lines or what have you. You've all seen the stupid slipper socks that they give you at the hospital. You can make something like that if you take some hot glue and just do some strips of glue across your bottom of your sole of your sock. That will keep you from slipping. So, good morning, Linda. Nice to see you. So, what are people doing today? Is anybody cooking anything real good for dinner today? I am going to make chicken korma. That's my plan. And I love doing korma. Yeah, puff paint. That works real well too. Chicken korma is one of my favorite things to make because I can throw it in my Instant Pot. And then at the end, when it's all done cooking, I can throw in my yogurt and stuff and finish it off, and it's good to go. And I think I'm going to get some cauliflower instead of cooking rice. That sounds good, Arity. I made chicken korma. It is an Indian dish. It's one of the, well, you can make it as spicy as you want it. I mean, obviously, Indian food does sometimes have some heat to it. But of course, when you're making it at home, you can make it as hot or as mild as you want. When I had my ex-husband teach me to cook it, because he was from India and he was an excellent, excellent cook. And so I had him teach me a few things. And Um, the reason that I learned how to make korma is because we were doing a kind of a almost like a potluck type thing at work because we worked night shift and obviously not many restaurants were open as late as we were working. So we would we would take turns bringing in a main dish, and I had him teach me to make it, but I kind of customized it more to American tastes, knowing that most people don't like food as spicy as what I like it. So, um, yeah, I toned it down a little, but it has the usual Indian spices, the garlic, ginger, hot chilies, and curry powder, all of that. And then when he taught me to make it, now making korma from scratch the Indian way is very labor intensive because you have to toast almonds, you have to toast sesame seeds, and unsweetened coconut flakes. And once you have toasted all of those, you have to grind them into a paste, somewhat like a creamy peanut butter. Um, I have to say, it tastes absolutely wonderful, but it's a hell of a lot of work. So I kind of cheat and I do more of a fusion. I have a good friend who's Filipino, and I went to her house one year. I got invited for Thanksgiving. And so, they had all the usual American foods, the turkey and what have you, but then they had a lot of Filipino food too. And they had this one dish that um, it was a chicken dish and it had peanut butter in the sauce. And it was so good. And I kind of got to thinking and I was like, I bet some peanut butter in korma would go really good. So now what I do is I substitute a couple of tablespoons of creamy peanut butter in my korma instead of doing all the ground up nuts. So, and it's very good. It gives it a really good flavor. Yes, spices are good for you. Exactly. Indians really know what they're doing as far as how to eat spices and what they do for your body. I think that their way of cooking is is excellent for taking care of your health. Um, it is a good hack, Julianne. It works really well, and like I said, the chicken and peanut butter is pretty much a classic combination in a lot of different cuisines. So, you know, it's not like it's really that off the wall, but you're hungry now? I am toying with the idea of making some cinnamon rolls. I've been hungry for cinnamon rolls for several days now. We don't have any bread in the house, so I can't cheat and make cinnamon toast. So I'm thinking about making some cinnamon rolls. You love korma? Yeah, I do too. I love Indian food in general. You stick Indian food in front of me and I'm a happy camper. Um, I will ship one right over to you, Lana. I just found out that we finally have some restaurants in town, some Indian restaurants in town that have South Indian cuisine, and I can get some masala dosa now. Masala dosa, I can do the filling really well. Lori, I will have to say Rogan Josh is not one that I've ever made. Um, I've done like chicken tikka masala, butter chicken. I've done chili chicken. Uh, I did a recipe kind of like butter chicken, but you use beef cubes in it. Um, but yeah, I've never done the Rogan Josh, and that's pretty fiery stuff. My husband would probably love it if I did. Now, one thing I did learn, I used to um, work with some Ethiopian girls when I worked at Dell, and um, they have a spice that they use. It's a traditional Ethiopian spice blend. It's called berry berry, and it's very hot. And they do a dish where they use chunks of beef, lots of onion, lots of oil, and lots of berry berry. And the oil and the spice basically is what makes your sauce, you know, and when you cook it all down, cook the onion down and everything, and the onion releases its juice and all that, you get this really, really spicy sauce. But what they do, oh yeah, yeah, their food is hot. And I kid you not, I what they do is they take a big bowl of rice and just a little bit of the meat and onion mixture, and so you eat a big spoon of rice with a little bit of the food, and that kind of tones down the spice a little bit. Well, for white bread Margaret here, it didn't really tone it down that much. I was sitting there, I mean, my nose was literally dripping from all those hot spices, but I was shoveling it in. It was so good. And before I went home from staying with them for the weekend, because my friend that I worked with at Dell had taken me down to her relative's house in Memphis. And that's when I learned how to make this stuff. And one of the gals brought me a big baggie full of the berry berry spice. So I was able to take some home and make it at home too. Okay, Lana. Well, I am not rushing off unless, anybody that needs to leave. I know that I am over my usual hour, but I'm feeling chatty today and I don't really have anything to do. It's raining. So about all I really will probably do after I get off of here is clean up my few little bit of dishes that I've got out in the kitchen, and that's about it. I made a really nice, easy dinner last night. I pan fried some catfish and did potato wedges and had fresh tomatoes. It was a good dinner. Yeah, my morning puppo duties usually start pretty early. He wants to be out by 7, 8 o'clock. He doesn't like hanging out in the house. He's going to be so upset when winter gets here and he has to come in. Um, he is not going to be a happy dog at all. Yeah, so today I need to sit down and figure out what I'm cooking for the next week or two and figure out a shopping list. Take a look at what is on sale where, and that'll help me plan my menu. And then I'll figure out my shopping list and probably go shopping tomorrow afternoon after the hubby gets home. Not feeling it today. Um, After walking around yesterday, um, I My knees are a little grouchy. I actually took my mom's cane with me yesterday because I knew that I wasn't going to be able to park very close to the rally. And so having to walk on hard surfaces especially really bothers my knees. And so I figured just for the sake of helping me keep my balance and not have any embarrassing moments falling down, I decided to take that so I would have something to kind of lean on as I was walking. Getting old is just sucks. When I was younger, I would have run those few blocks, but yeah. And I've known I've got arthritis in my knees for a while, and you know, it just is what it is. It ain't fun. You're right about that. So what is everybody working on? You've seen what I've been working on. Oh, speaking of what I've been working on, let me grab my trio blanket and I'll show you how it's looking right now. Give me a second and I will be right back. So this is about what I've got left of my second cake of yarn on each color. And here's where I'm at. Getting big. It's, I guess, probably 29 inches at this point. So, yeah, that's how it's looking. So I will probably sit and work on this bad boy today. Maybe work through another cake of yarn. Thank you. I think it's turning out pretty. I like it. MDL Irish blanket and Tunisian, and a couple sweaters made with 4 big granny squares. Cool. I wish that I liked granny squares, but I just don't. Scrimshaw, that is called the trio blanket pattern. I believe, let me see if I can find it. There is a tutorial for it, so bear with me and I will grab it for you. Okay. Where's the one that I worked from? I thought that there was I thought that there was a trio blanket tutorial, but maybe there isn't. Let me do it on the Google. Okay. Okay, here we go. The website that I found it on was Felted Button. So I don't know if there is a I did kind of show on, actually I did do a tutorial for the stitch. If you go back and look in my playlist, it's back about a year ago. I did just a block showing how to do the trio stitch. And I give you the stitch multiples and everything in that. So if you want to go back and look at my tutorial, or Felted Button does have the pattern for the trio blanket on their site. So if you need a written pattern, you can go out there. I basically bookmarked her page the first time that I ever did the trio blanket, and that's been like years ago. As far as being a yarn eater, it is not, because you're working that combination of double crochet and chain stitches. So it's not a yarn eater at all. I mean, you look at this, it's like 29 inches at this point, and I've only gone through 2 cakes of each color. So yeah, not a yarn eater at all. And just really fun, very mindless, because once you get past these first 2 rows, the first 2 rows are the hardest part of this blanket. Once you get past those 2 rows, it becomes very mindless, because you basically know that when you end a row with 3 chain stitches, you're going to cover those chain stitches with double crochets into the row below, and then you're going to chain stitch everywhere you have double crochets. So you can sit and watch TV and do this blanket, and you barely really even need to watch what you're doing. You can almost work it by feel. So yeah, I love this pattern. So yeah, I'm gonna keep working on that today. Like I said, maybe get through another cake of yarn, and keep going. Like I said, I think I'm going to go ahead and use all 6 of the cakes I got 6 of each color, and I think I'm going to go ahead and work using all 6 cakes and just make it a really big blanket so that I can use it as a bedspread on my bed this winter. I think that'll make actually I'll probably use it on my bed year round, because I get cold in the summer. Once we have the AC running, I get a little chilly at night, so I don't mind having a light blanket. And this is just enough, just heavy enough that I think it'll add some warmth without being overly so. And if I use it on my bed and need another blanket, I can always stick another blanket underneath. I think it will too, Julianne. Yes, I love that yarn as well. It's really super easy to work with. It just glides, and it doesn't seem to be too hard if I have to frog anything back. I have had to frog back a row once, but because I didn't cover over my um, chain stitches when I did the double crochets in the row below. Um, I will say one thing about the trio stitch is when it's growing, you're not growing the width of a full double crochet row. You're actually only growing more like a half double width because you're crocheting in the row below, so you're not getting the full double crochet height for each row. But it still is not a yarn eater, and it works really fast. It works up super fast. So yeah, I think that's my plan for the rest of the day. Clean the kitchen, make some cinnamon rolls, work on my trio blanket. That ought to be enough for a day. Oh, make my grocery list. I need to do that. Although, if I make enough korma today, I might not have to go get groceries tomorrow. We might just have that for a couple of days. Yeah, that would make a nice donation blanket, Lori. I agree. Oh no, Frizzy, that's not good. I hate it when the mower stops working. Our mower is finicky. Um, we have an electric mower, and it's not corded. It's a battery operated, and the wiring on it is so finicky. If everything isn't just in the right place, it was just, just doesn't want to run. And so even my husband has trouble with it when he's using it. I think he's gotten a lot more used to it than I do because we have a deal. He does the front yard, I do the backyard. I don't do the backyard as much as I should. Right now, my backyard kind of looks like a field. At this point, I will probably just take my weed eater out and um, cut the yard that way because the grass has gotten just a bit too long to try and mow it. The mower really won't be happy if I try to mow that backyard. I also noticed I have a bunch of arugula growing wildly around my yard. It planted itself. Um, and I found out my neighbor loves arugula, so I think I'm going to harvest all that arugula and take it over to her. Are you thinking you're going to get a pup pretty soon, Julianne? I know the kids have been wanting one. Or they also were talking about another cat, weren't they? Oh, okay. What kind of puppy? We shall see. What kind of puppy is it? Ah, just decided to stick with Merlin and Arthur. Okay. Yeah, that's probably better. Bringing another cat into a well-established kitty household can kind of throw things out of whack. Oh, oh, that nice long-haired Chihuahua mix. Cool. My neighbors are, my new neighbors on the corner are supposed to be getting a puppy. They're going to be getting a beagle. No. I forget what some kind of hound. The ones that get the big paws and the real long floppy ears, not a beagle. But anyway, yeah, they're supposed to be getting their puppy. I think she was saying they were going to get it today. So I'll be interested. She's going to bring him over to meet Icy. I hope that goes well. Icy isn't real great with other dogs, but hopefully maybe he'll be okay with the neighbor dog. A pocket puppy. Yeah, don't upset the boys if they're living happy together. Cat dogs. I will tell you a secret, Lori. Siberian Huskies are the cats of the dog world. Yep. Siberian Huskies think they are cats. Outfits. Oh no. Poor dog. I can just imagine trying to put an outfit on Icy. You know how dogs can give you that judgy face? Yeah, Icy would be given the judgy face. Crochet him something? Nah, he wouldn't put up with it. For one thing, he has too much fur as it is. He does not want to add another layer to all that fur. He won't even let me put boots on him in the wintertime. So I have tried, and he just does not do good. Oh, goodness. Julianne. Yeah. My mom used to have a Yorkshire Terrier, and he was a hoot. And he did not like men. And he would, anytime a man was around, he would try to bite him. The only man that he did put up with was the guy that I had been living with and then ended up moving out and moving in with my mom and her partner. But he would come over on his Harley, and for some reason, Marsan just absolutely loved this guy. And so when he would hear a Harley coming up the road, he would be headed for the front door waiting for him. Yeah, he was hilarious. But in fact, we had a picture of him, and I wish I could find it. We had a picture of him. James used to wear the 16-inch engineer boots, so they're the really tall leather boots. He used to always wear those when he was out on his bike, and Marsan was small enough that he could fit down inside the boot. So we have a picture of Marsan down inside the boot with his front paws hanging over the top and his head looking out the top of the boot. It was the cutest picture ever. Raincoats and booties a must. Yeah, I'll have to go through all our pictures and see if I can find pictures of him. I need to find pictures of him and well, just him. And then he used to, until his hunting instincts really started kicking in, he was really good friends with my mom's bird. She had a son conure, and yeah, they were a lot of fun together. Well, guys, it has been almost an hour and just about 3/4. So I think I am going to zoom off of here. And size of a Shetland. Wow, what kind of dog? Standard poodle. I love standard poodles. The people that used to live across the street from me when I was growing up had a standard poodle, and she was the coolest dog. Um, Unfortunately, as she got older, she ended up having a lot of tumors and stuff. It was really sad. She was not in real great health as she got older, but she was the neatest dog. Um, when I was in my teens, my um, yeah, well, that's kind of how it is with Icy. People are a little bit intimidated by his looks, but he is like the sweetest dog you'd ever want to meet. I mean, he doesn't have a mean bone in his body when it comes to people. If you're a small animal, then, well, all bets are off. But but when I was growing up, the the gal that ended up being my sister-in-law later on in life, she had a purebred Old English sheepdog, and she was old, and they didn't expect for her to get pregnant again, but lo and behold, she had a litter of puppies. And unfortunately, at the same time that she had the litter of puppies, she also had a really bad cyst on her ear that the doctor was really concerned with, and decided to go ahead and remove it about a day after she had her litter of puppies. So they put her under the anesthesia to do the surgery, and she died. So there was Vicky left with a litter. I think she had 5 puppies and 2 boys in diapers. Good morning, Renee. You are here just in time for my kind of my last story of the day. So the night that after she had died, Vicky and her husband had some things they had to do because he was in a band. He was a bass player. He was excellent. And so they had band obligations. So they need a babysitter. So my friend and I, she was my best friend in high school, she and I went over to babysit together. And so we were babysitting all those puppies that had to be bottle fed, and 2 little boys that didn't have to be bottle fed but did have to be diapered. It was a fun evening. But I managed to talk my parents into letting us get one of the puppies when they were ready to be weaned. I talked my dad and mom into getting one of them, and he ended up, we named him Oliver, and he ended up being huge. And he was, I mean, he was the typical big, shaggy old English sheepdog, and he was intimidating. He would, run out on the sidewalk. If somebody was walking down the sidewalk, he'd run out there and, you know, want to greet them, and they'd be like, stock still, frozen in fear. But we always told him he won't do anything. He won't hurt you. If anything, he's just going to love you to death. But he was so big. If I had him get up on his hind legs and put his front paws on my shoulder, he was like looking up here over the top of my head. So speaking and looking over the top of my head, somebody had a St. Bernard at the rally yesterday. Oh my God, that was a gorgeous dog. I don't even think it was full grown yet. He was big, but he wasn't like, monster size like they get. So he may have been just still a puppy, but he was a beautiful dog and well behaved. Oh my God, he was so well behaved. If I was to take Icy into a crowd, I don't think it would work out well. He just likes people too well, but he likes to jump and just be silly, and not everybody likes that. So, well, everybody, I am going to go ahead and get off of here and let you guys get about your day. Let me get about mine. Even though it's much more fun sitting here talking to you, I'm going to go ahead and get my coffee finished and do something that I need to do. Well, thank you guys for hanging out with me. I really appreciate it. All of you that are my subscribers and all of you who are not my subscribers. If you're not my subscriber, why not? Please subscribe. Please leave me a thumbie. I would appreciate it. I hope that you all have a wonderful day. Oh, and speaking of subscribers, had said yesterday on my live that, if my little political leaning rant drove people away, that, that would be okay. I actually gained a subscriber yesterday. Go figure. So anyway, I hope that you all have a fabulous rest of the day. Do what makes you happy. I love you all, and I will see you next weekend. Take care. Bye-bye.